They told me there wasn't enough budget to include me on the family trip. But when I checked my card, $8,200 gone, spent on a beachfront villa, flights, and a personal chef. Without me. So, what happens when the people you trust treat your money like theirs? At 2:41 p.m., my sister sent. The villa locked us out. Help. I replied. Budget's tight. Remember? And then I found out, by accident. I wasn't looking for trouble. I was sorting through my finances. Rent was coming up. My car had started making a sound like a dying blender. I opened my banking app. And there it was. $8,200, gone. At first, I thought it had to be a fraud. Some scam. Maybe my card got skimmed at the gas station again. But when I opened the itemized statement, my stomach dropped. It was all familiar stuff. Southwest flights to San Diego. Airbnb in Encinitas. Grocery delivery. A rental van. Even a line that said, Chef services, 3 days. That was the exact weekend my family was on their tight budget vacation. On the same trip, they told me I couldn't come on because there wasn't enough money for an extra person. The same trip, I was told not to make a big deal about because it was just some rest time, not a family reunion. That's what my mom had said when I asked about it a few weeks ago. I remember that call. She sounded weirdly defensive. Like she already knew how it sounded, and was ready to fight. They didn't even try to hide it. My younger sister Mia posted beach photos on Instagram. Matching sun hats. Pool floats. Drinks with little umbrellas. All smiles. I'd even liked one of the posts out of habit. They were living it up. And they'd used my money to do it. The thing is, they didn't have my card. I never gave it to them. What I did give them, though, a while back, was emergency access. My mom guilt-tripped me into adding her as an authorized user when my dad's truck broke down. Just in case. I'd also helped them set up accounts using my login info, for Airbnb, for the airline rewards site I use. I told myself it was harmless. It made things easier. They were family, right? But now, they decided that my not helping enough somehow justified draining my account. And no one said a word. Not even my other sister, Ella, the one who always acts like she's the peacekeeper. They all went along with it. I sat there, staring at the charges. And I think I laughed. Just once. A short, ugly noise. Then I clicked dispute all. I started working my way down the list. Removed my mom's user access. Changed all my passwords. Kicked every device off my travel accounts. Blocked Airbnb from my bank account, just to be sure. At 2:41 p.m., right on cue, a message popped up from Mia. The villa is locked. Help. That one word set something off in me. I didn't even hesitate. I replied, budget is tight. Remember? Then I followed it with another message, this one to the whole group chat. You stole from me. I've already reported the charges. Don't contact me unless it's through a lawyer. They tried calling after that. All of them. Even my dad, who hasn't called me directly in months unless he needed help moving something. I let it all ring. I wasn't interested in anything they had to say, not when it came laced with that same old arrogance they always pulled out when they thought I should just take it. Then came the texts. My mom said I was overreacting. Mia said it was a misunderstanding. Ella asked me to just call, and not make this a legal thing. But they knew. They knew what they did. And for the first time, I wasn't just going to let it go. I didn't say much more that day. I just watched as the panic settled in. The next morning, they were already back in town. I didn't expect them to cut the trip short. But I guess once the locks changed and the chef stopped showing up, paradise didn't feel so much like paradise. I didn't get a heads up. They didn't even knock. The first time, at 9:17 a.m., I opened my door to find Ella standing there, a paper bag from the bakery they all know I like. She didn't smile. Just handed it to me like some kind of offering and said, "We need to talk." I didn't invite her in. And she didn't try to push past me. She started softly and said no one meant to hurt me. That mom thought I wouldn't notice. That I always seemed okay financially. Maybe it wasn't right. But it wasn't personal. Then she said, "You know how stressed mom is lately. She just wanted the girls to have a break." I stood there. Waited for her to say something real. She didn't. Then she threw in the line that stuck. "It's not like you're struggling, Tony." I think she assumed you wouldn't mind. Not really. Right. Because not minding is the same as being robbed. By evening, they all came through in shifts. Mia called first and said she was sorry. Said it all got out of hand. Said she didn't know how to say no when mom had already planned everything. I didn't think it was that much money. My dad texted an hour later. Told me not to blow this out of proportion. That I was family. And the family handles things internally. He said, "This isn't worth ruining everything over." And my mom? She finally showed up in person. Stood on my porch with my arms crossed. Said she didn't want drama. Said she was sorry if it felt wrong. But she thought I'd understand. She kept using that word, understand, like she expected me to thank her for including me in the con. Even if I wasn't invited to the vacation itself, they weren't apologizing because they felt guilty. They were apologizing because they got caught. I didn't say much that night. I just told them I needed to think. The next morning, I sent a message in the group chat. I'm not going to press charges. I'll let it go this time. I forgive you. But if anything like this ever happens again, I'll protect myself, however I need to. The replies rolled in instantly. Thank you. We knew you'd understand. They made it sound like I'd passed some kind of test. At the time, I thought maybe that was the end of it. I didn't expect everything to magically fix itself, but I thought the message was clear. You can't treat someone like a backup plan and expect them to keep smiling. But what I learned was that in my family, forgiveness doesn't mean closure, it means permission. About 3 weeks later, I noticed a charge from an urgent care clinic in Ella's name. Then a dental bill. Then a small hotel charge, just for one night. Mia said, when I confronted her, something about her friend's birthday and how they didn't have anywhere to crash. It kept going. A few hundred here, a few hundred there. My mom asked if I could help just this once with the gas bill. Then the internet. Then she said she put me on autopay for the electricity, because it was easier. Easier for whom? Update. I told myself I'd confront them. Then I told myself it wasn't worth it. Then I told myself maybe it would stop. That maybe, once things settled down, they'd start seeing me as a brother again, instead of a walking debit card. But it didn't stop. I checked the numbers. In 4 months, they burned through almost $10,000. And somehow, no one even said, thank you. By the 5th month, I wasn't even surprised anymore when money disappeared from my account. I'd start each week scrolling through charges like I was looking at someone else's life. $218 to a dental office 2 towns over. $340 to a mechanic that I later found out was for Mia's friend's car, because he didn't have a credit card. In a utility payment to a company I wasn't even a customer of. When I asked Mom about it, she said it was easier if I just took care of their stuff for N.W., and they'd square up later. They never did, of course. I started pulling back. Slowly, at first. I stopped replying right away. I stopped offering to help unless they asked directly. And when they did, it always came with some manipulative line like, you know Mom's too stressed to hear about this. Or, don't tell Dad, he'll make it a whole thing. Like I was the one keeping the peace by quietly footing every bill. Mia sent me a message one night that pushed me over the edge. She wrote, if you loved us, you wouldn't make us beg. I stared at that for a long time. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I'd been thinking about saying something for a while. So I sat down and wrote it. A long message. Not angry, just honest. I told them I was done being the safety net. Whatever sense of family we had left was being hollowed out every time they used me like a credit line. I said it wasn't just about money anymore. It was about how little they respected me. They only saw me when I was useful. I told them things couldn't go on like this. Then I told them I was leaving. I'd been planning it quietly for a few months, saving up whatever I could after all the damage they'd done. I found a sublet in Queens through a friend and put down the deposit. I hadn't told anyone. I knew if I did, someone would try to talk me out of it, or guilt me into staying. I said I'd be gone in 2 weeks. I said I needed space. Real space, not just time to cool off. I told them I hoped they'd understand. But honestly, I didn't think they would. And I was right. The replies came fast. First, Mia, furious. She called me selfish. Said I was throwing everything away because of one mistake. Ella texted in all caps. Please don't tell Mom. This wasn't a joke. That told me all I needed to know. They still hadn't owned up to anything. My dad's response was the longest. He told me I was running away. Life is hard, and family leans on each other. He said I was taking things too personally, like it wasn't my bank account they were raiding. Mom didn't respond at all. 2 weeks later, I packed my apartment into a borrowed pickup truck and drove out of town. No one came by to help. No one stood in the driveway to wave goodbye. No hugs. Take care. Just silence. Kyle helped me carry my stuff up 3 flights of stairs in Queens. His girlfriend brought me a plant for the windowsill and joked that it was impossible to kill. It was the first time in a long time I felt like someone gave me something, without expecting me to owe them for it. And then came the quiet. They didn't reach out. Not that first week. Or the second. No check-ins. No missed calls. Just absence. Until the 5th week. Mia messaged me first. Said she hated asking but needed $300 for an urgent vet visit, for a friend's dog she was watching. I sent it. Stupidly. Then Ella asked for $500 to help cover rent after a roommate bailed. I sent that too. And then Mom texted. Said the car registration was due, and Dad was too busy with work. Could I handle it? I sent the money. I told myself it might help rebuild something. That maybe this was the moment things changed. But it didn't change. It just confirmed what they already knew. No matter how far I moved, they still saw me the same way. And I was starting to see myself the same way, too. It started with another Venmo request. This one was from Mia. $250, labeled. For tonight. Please. Urgent. That was it. No explanation. No context. Just another casual transaction, like I was the family ATM on standby. I didn't answer. An hour later, Ella texted. Mia said you ignored her. You're going to leave her stranded over a couple $100? I sat at the edge of my bed, staring at the screen. I'd just gotten home from a long shift. I was doing freelance work and some delivery jobs on the side to make ends meet in New York. I'd skipped lunch to save money. My feet hurt. I hadn't even opened the takeout container I picked up hours ago, because I was too tired to eat. And here they were, treating me like some kind of backup credit line, with a guilt surcharge. Again. I opened the spreadsheet. I'd been keeping it since I moved. I didn't know why at first. Maybe I thought one day I'd show it to them. Or maybe I just needed proof I wasn't crazy. $10,263 in 5 months. Car repairs. Birthday dinners. Rent shortfalls. Groceries for the kids. Utility bills. Even one labeled. Therapy. A copay that I later found out was a manicure appointment Mia booked during a weekend girls' trip. I scrolled through it all. I didn't feel angry, I felt stupid. I kept thinking that if I gave enough, they'd stop seeing me as a means to an end and maybe start seeing me as a person again. A brother. A son. That night, I got another message from Ella. Again. Just don't tell Mom, okay? She wouldn't be able to handle it if she knew you were serious. Just let her think you're busy. It was all I needed to see. I called Ella. She picked up fast, probably thinking I was going to cave. I'm not sending any more money, I said. She didn't respond at first. Then she laughed, not a real laugh. One of those disbelieving, sarcastic ones. Wait, what? You heard me. You're just cutting everyone off? Just like that? No. Not just like that. After $10,000 in 5 months of being treated like a backup plan. You can't do this to Mom, she said. She's been stressed in this. She wasn't too stressed to drain my account. Or ask for money. Or pretend I didn't exist until she needed something. Tony, this is dramatic. No. This is overdue. I hung up. They all started calling after that, not at once, but within the hour. My dad left a long voicemail about the family sticking together. My mom texted a single line. I hope you're proud. For the next few days, I kept my phone on silent. No one asked how I was doing. No one offered to talk, unless it was about what I had taken from them. Like boundaries were theft, and silence was violence. I didn't send any more money after that. Everything stopped. They went completely quiet. No messages. No calls. No check-ins. No updates. Final update. Holidays passed. Birthdays passed. I wasn't invited to anything. No one even told me how my uncle's surgery went, even though I was the one who drove him to his appointment 6 months earlier. It was like I had been cut out of a movie halfway through the script. And I wish I could say I didn't care, but part of me did. Part of me still checked my phone every so often, thinking maybe someone would send a real message. Something honest. Something like, we're sorry. But they didn't. And now, I was starting to wonder if they ever would. It started politely. That's how it always begins, with softness. As if the damage didn't happen. My mom texted me on a Wednesday afternoon. We'd love to come see you for a day or two. It's been too long. No mention of the silence. No mention of the 10 grand. The guilt trips. The way they froze me out the second I said no. Just casual warmth, like nothing ever happened. I stared at the message for a while before responding. Part of me didn't want to open that door again, literally or figuratively. But I guess curiosity still lives somewhere under all the resentment. So I said yes. One visit. One day. They showed up that Saturday afternoon, all 4 of them crammed into my dad's SUV, looking out of place on my block in Queens, like they expected someone to come get the car. I watched them through the window before opening the door. My mom brought a box of pastries. Ella brought a bag of local snacks. My dad barely said hello. Mia didn't look up from her phone. We sat in the living too, having small talk. Work. Weather. City noise. A few comments about how tight my apartment was. I could feel them inching toward something. Like they were circling a topic but waiting for the right moment to strike. It came about 20 minutes in. My mom cleared her throat and smoothed her jeans like she was about to give a speech at a PTA meeting. So, we wanted to talk to you about something serious. She looked at Mia, who put her phone down and finally made eye contact. Mia got accepted into a really good university in Arizona. Out of state, but it's a great program, nursing. I nodded slowly. But the costs are more than we thought, she continued. Her scholarships cover some, and the loans would cover the rest, but with interest the way it is. We'd be paying for years. Ella jumped in, too quickly. She's worked so hard, Tony. We just want to give her a good start. Then came the line that hit like a cold slap. We were hoping, my mom said, you could help. Just until things get settled. The full amount? $45,000. I looked at all of them, one by one. My dad stared straight at me, arms folded, like he was expecting an argument. Ella gave a soft, hopeful smile. My mom looked firm but polite. Mia sat with her arms crossed, like she'd already made peace with my answer not matching either way. I let out a quiet laugh, not because it was funny, but because the nerve of it caught me off guard. You came all the way here to ask me for 45 grand? My mom gave me a patronizing smile. We didn't want to do this over text. We thought it was more respectful to ask in person. I stood up. My heart was racing. Not one of you is called to ask how I'm doing in 6 months. You went silent the second I stopped sending money. But you come here, to my home, to ask me for more? That's not respect. That's strategy. Ella shifted in her seat. Tony, don't turn this into something bigger. This is about Mia's future. You've always said education matters. I said it mattered. I didn't say I was funding it for people who cut me off the second I had boundaries. Mia rolled her eyes. You act like we're strangers. You've treated me like a stranger. My dad finally spoke. You're being emotional. Think logically. You're not married. No kids. No real financial burdens. You can do this. I walked over to the front door and opened it. You need to leave. My mom's face dropped. You're seriously kicking us out? You came here with one goal, and it wasn't reconciliation. The pastries sat unopened on the counter. I didn't touch them. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful, but it was clean. And for the first time, I wasn't sorry for how I handled it. 3 weeks passed after they left my apartment. I didn't hear a thing. No follow-up texts. No apologies. Not even a fake just checking in message to pretend like they cared. The silence wasn't shocking, it was familiar by now. But this time, it felt different. Colder. Like I was no longer useful. And so I'd been shelved. Then came the requests. First from Mia. Hey, not to bug you, but do you have $200? Just for a couple of days. I'm in a bind. No, oh how are you? No mention of the last time we spoke. Just money. Always money. I ignored it. 2 days later, Ella. I didn't want to ask, but I'm short $500 for rent. Just this once, I swear. That phrase, I swear, was starting to feel like an inside joke. Only they were in on it. I don't know why I did it, but I sent the money. Some small part of me was still holding out. Thinking, maybe, helping again would be the gesture that finally woke them up. They didn't even say, thank you. A week after that, Mia sent another message. No context. No greeting. Just $350. That's all it said. Not even a question mark. I stared at the screen. Then deleted the entire thread. And I stopped. Just like that. I stopped responding. Stopped sending. Stopped hoping. But it didn't end there. The surprise came about a month later. When I ran into my cousin Rachel at a bar near my apartment. She was visiting the city with friends. We hadn't seen each other in years. I figured we'd do the quick, polite catch-up thing and move on. But after a drink, she leaned over and said, So, is it true you cut everyone off? I blinked. What? Your mom's been saying you've changed. That you moved to the city and now you think you're better than the rest of the family. I laughed, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. Apparently, at some family gathering, maybe Thanksgiving, maybe Easter, she couldn't remember. My name came up. And that's when it all spilled out. My mom had told everyone I was distant and bitter. My dad said I was selfish and had forgotten my roots. Ella said I was cold now. And Mia? She claimed I chose strangers over blood. Rachel said it like she didn't believe them, but it still hit me like a gut punch. I hadn't just been cut off. They'd rewritten the story. I was the villain now. The ungrateful son. The entitled brother moved to the big city and turned his back on his struggling family. They never mentioned the $10,000. Never brought up the charges. Never talked about the fact that they'd robbed me blind. Not part of the narrative. I sat there stunned while Rachel sipped her drink. They said that? I asked. She nodded. Yeah. I thought it was weird. That's why I asked. I didn't reply. I didn't know how. I walked home that night with a hollow feeling in my chest. Not anger, just clarity. It wasn't just that they used me. It wasn't even the silence after I set boundaries. It was that even after everything, they still had the nerve to paint me as the bad guy. That was the final straw. I went home and blocked all of them on everything. Not out of spite, out of self-respect. I deleted the family group chat. Removed them from my accounts. Changed the last of my old passwords, just in case. That night, I took the spreadsheet of everything they'd taken from me. And deleted that too. I didn't want a record anymore. I didn't want to carry it. I'm done. I'm done being the responsible one. The quiet one. The fixer. The fallback. I'm done making excuses for people who wouldn't even defend me when I wasn't in the room. I've heard people say that cutting off family is extreme. That's selfish. That's sad. But you know what's sad? Giving people chance after chance. And watching them waste everyone. So no, I don't miss them. I miss the version of them I wish they were. But that version never existed. And I'm finally okay with that.